Hello traders, I'm Luke from Disciplined Trader. Last week I made a video looking at whether trading from a laptop was worthwhile, which, if you haven't seen the video, I'll link it in the cards above and in the description below, but basically concluded with me saying that I don't think I would be comfortable trading on a laptop full time. Instead, I like to have one as a backup and for travelling, and then I mainly trade from my desktop setup. But could the new M1 Macbook Pro change my mind? These things have been out a little while now, and the reception to them from the tech community has been extremely positive. Now, I'm not an Apple user usually, but I was very eager to understand all the hype, so I picked one up. Here it is, the new M1 MacBook Pro 13-inch, 8GB of RAM, 256GB SSD model in space grey. In the box you get the M1 MacBook Pro laptop, a USB-C charging cable, wall power brick, and the small cardboard envelope with instructions and Apple stickers inside. Initially, the MacBook Pro feels quite heavy to hold, especially for someone that's used to an older model Lenovo X1 Carbon. This is due to the significantly better build quality. Overall, my first impressions out of the box are very good. The laptop feels and looks very premium. So how good is this laptop when it comes to trading? I went through what I think are the major benefits and pitfalls when trying to trade from a laptop in the last video. There'll be a link to that in the cards above and in the description below if you want to check it out. As purely a point of comparison, I will use my older Core i7 Lenovo X1 Carbon 14-inch model that is to be replaced by this MacBook Pro. The first thing to mention about this M1 MacBook Pro is that the screen is fantastic. Even though it is smaller than the X1 Carbon, it feels much bigger. This is down to the superior quality of screen, and also it has a better resolution. This makes a massive difference when it comes to doing your chart analysis on these machines. On the X1 Carbon, using TradingView does become a bit tedious. Everything feels a bit cramped on the screen, I find toolbars get in the way, and I don't like how little price action I can see. I can hear you now. Zoom out on the chart, then dum-dum. But I like to be able to see the detail in the candles, and you do lose that once you zoom out by a certain amount. This is greatly improved on the MacBook Pro. Like I said, even though the screen is smaller, it feels way more comfortable to use than the X1 Carbon. Moving on to the trackpad, if you watched the last video, you'll know I'm not a big fan of using trackpads. Many years of predominantly using a desktop PC will probably do that to you. The X1 Carbon never changed my view on this either. If anything, it encased this view in a nice block of cement, making my agenda against trackpads the strongest it's ever been. The MacBook Pro trackpad has taken a wrecking ball to that cement block, however. Don't get me wrong, it's not reached the dizzy comfort heights of my Logitech mouse, but it's definitely the best trackpad I've ever used on a laptop. It doesn't cause me the same problems as the X1 Carbons did when trying to do chart analysis. The trackpad is smooth and accurate with its movement. Pair this with the vastly better display, and overall this is a much more enjoyable experience. The last thing I wanted to look at was the battery life, as if you are on the move a lot, access to a power point may not be available in all situations, so having a decent amount of battery power is essential. The X1 Carbon might have been able to squeeze out 6 to 8 hours of use in its early life, and now, a number of years later, it's doing well to reach 4. I think this is reasonable, if not slightly above average for an older Windows machine, but the M1 MacBook Pro blows this out the water. Apple claim this machine can last up to 20 hours on a full charge, and I believe them. I used this for at least 3 hours in its first sitting, and after being fully charged, it still had 85% of its battery life remaining. A thing to note on the comparison of these laptops is that they both have relatively small screens. The X1 Carbon has a 14-inch screen and the MacBook Pro has a 13.3-inch screen. You can buy laptops with bigger screens, typically the larger models have 15 to 16-inch screens, there may even be bigger ones, but I bought both these machines with portability in mind. I didn't want to be lugging around a large laptop when travelling, as this contradicts one of my main reasons for purchase. But for people who are considering trading from a laptop and are happy with a heavier and larger model for a bigger screen, obviously that is something you can do. So the M1 MacBook Pro is a lot better than an old X1 Carbon. Shock. But that's not really my point. If you had asked me a few weeks ago, would you trade from a laptop, particularly one with a small screen, I'd have said no without hesitation. But this new M1 MacBook Pro has gone a long way to change that opinion. I still wouldn't remove my desktop setup to trade solely from this machine, but I can see myself trading from this laptop on more occasions than just when travelling. Sometimes, even at home, it's just nice to change your scenery, and having this will enable me to do that and not be a hindrance when I actually want to look at some charts. A major consideration when deciding whether or not to trade mainly from a laptop should be what type of trader you are. If you are a very active day trader or scalper, I'd hazard a good guess that a laptop probably isn't the right choice. These methods of trading require pinpoint timing, and I can see that this could be problematic when trading from a small setup, like with a laptop. Less active day traders and definitely swing traders won't have a problem, however. So would I recommend this laptop? 100% yes. I've been a Windows user for years, decades even, but Apple's Big Sur operating system is intuitive and easy to use. The laptop as a whole is buttery smooth and lightning quick. Everything I've installed on it so far runs flawlessly, and they've even taken measures to ensure that non-native apps run on it too through the use of Rosetta 2, which essentially enables compatibility for apps which aren't designed to work on Apple's operating system. The whole experience of using this laptop feels premium from performance to build quality. I was a little skeptical when spending £1,300 on a 13-inch laptop, but I'm definitely happy with my purchase. So I hope that's helped. Let me know in the comments if you trade from a laptop, are thinking about trading from a laptop, or just hate trading from a laptop. I'd be interested to see what you think. Have a good week in the markets, traders, and stay safe.